Who is this?
All right, guys, welcome to
We're fucking back.
another episode of the Pink Boys Crypto Cast. But today, things are a little different. Miraculously, we're joined by a girl. And not only that, what's more important is that I'm finally joined by a fucking American for once in my life instead of being surrounded by this global cadre of losers worldwide. So at least I have a little backup. And I'm happy about that. So without further ado, our guest today is, well, I'm not going to just call her a space witch and then do whatever else. I think she can describe it on her own. But today we're joined by Maren Altman. Maren, how you doing?
Yo, I'm pretty good, pretty decent. No
What colors
complaints
were
on
your
my end.
portfolio? Is it red?
Actually, my portfolio, I'd say, is no color, given that I'm very, very sidelined and have been for a little while. So I'm,
Let's fucking go.
I'm
Let's go.
comfortable. Yeah,
There we go.
yeah,
I heard you hedged at like 60K. Is that true?
yeah.
Holy shit.
So Chad.
That's very
Goddamn.
impressive. So I guess for those who aren't completely familiar, I'm not going to do the classic like, what do you mean you can read what Bitcoin's going to do?
Right.
You know, like how does that work? How do you prove that? Like, look, we're all initiates of the dark arts here. All right, so we're ready to talk about it the way you want to talk about it.
Some of
But
us
the
more than
gist of
others.
it- Yeah, and Maren can word it better than we are, but basically, you know, you use I guess astrological signs, moon cycles, etc., to give a bearing of potential directions or just kind of easing into momentum of what Bitcoin or markets are doing in general. Is that a good layman's way of describing it, or what would you say?
Yeah, phenomenal explanation, actually. There's no weird tangential shit you brought in there. Like some people try to describe it with what they think is justice, and they bring in somehow psychism and tarot. And I'm like, bitch, I have no idea what you're talking about here. But yeah, I use astrology. This is another indicator, tracking cycles, been doing it for a while in terms of just life. And then I found crypto and finance in 2020 and immediately applied it. And so I do very similar things to a lot of quants, and I just use planets more blatantly, and I use the moon cycle, and I'm tracking, you know, correlation between certain alignments and how that demonstrates a price action, which has been a really big edge in the small amount of time that I've been in crypto. So no regrets, and people can stay in disbelief.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I want to
Nice.
ask though is what were the signs that
Yeah.
kind of told you to tether up at 60K?
Yeah.
Mm.
So no,
And why did
December
I miss
4th.
them?
Yeah. December 4th was a new moon, and new moons are generally local tops. And I'm used to shorting the new moon, either just holding spot and like hedging, or like literally selling. And I do want to say that I'm usually doing alts, but because you can liken alts to Bitcoin on leverage, like it's still responsive. My Bitcoin, most of it is locked up actually on Badger DAO, which had a hack, and they're not letting anyone take it off, which I'm honestly fine with. Like a very small amount of my portfolio was actual Bitcoin, but I got out early December because I saw that there would be a new moon on the 4th that was also a solar eclipse, meaning it's like a giga new moon. And with new moons being local tops, this being a giga new moon, I was like, end of November, I started de-risking on alts. And then early December, I believe it was like very early December or it was late November, I started very much de-risking on ETH and Solana, which were my largest holdings, and like Bitcoin as well for what I had. And so after the 4th, when that was literally beyond, like that was worse than I thought after a new moon. And then I see the end of the year being worse. So like at this point, I'm very sidelined and have been shorting. Yeah.
Does it get better?
I'm curious.
It gets
how
better
much-
from the
fucking over.
19th
So
to the
you do
30th. Yeah.
astrology analysis, right? How much
Yeah.
how much do you take into account like regular TA into your
So
into your thing?
astrology will give you directional sentiment. Like one day the planets might be in a really bad alignment with Bitcoin's chart, indicating downward price action, but that is not going to give you levels. Like you have to be able to execute with TA, which is where sure astrologers can look at the chart and be like, yo, if this was a person, you'd have a shitty day. If this is a asset, it's going to have a shitty day as well in the market, but it requires TA execution. Like there's no getting around that. So
Well, it's
I
like
use
a
astrology
combination,
to inform
right?
it, of course.
It's
Yeah,
like
and there's
any
not
indicator. It's like not a god indicator,
Exactly.
but like combined
Yeah.
with like many factors like
because you have to be able
market.
to execute. Like it's a bad
Yeah.
day, but that doesn't mean that you short on max leverage with like no wiggle room. Like you have to be able to play a range basically. So
I mean,
I use it
that's like,
for overview, but then I have to execute with TA.
I mean, like the whole thing with like it's peak midwittery to like dismiss just even TA as a whole, because of like one indicator. Like you see people all
Right.
over like CT or just new people. They're like,
I
geez,
saw this
TA,
fucking-
TA's my meme.
Like the
I saw,
lines and
I saw
shit.
this meme where it was like TA is astrology for men, but I guess like Maren kind of combines the two into like giga fucking astrology TA.
Yeah,
Or
there's always the
astrology is
meme of
TA
like,
for
I mean, see
women.
how well astrology has worked. Like astrology for men might not be the worst thing, right?
Well, it's just
Yeah,
it's funny to
because-
me though. Yeah, go ahead.
well, the quote that I kind of started saying was that astrology is TA for all of reality. Like TA is patterns and cycles for literally just candlestick charts about assets, but astrology is patterns and cycles on a multidimensional for just like life events in general. So like they're literally like very comparable, just on different kind of overviews.
I don't see why people can't take it at least a little seriously, because I guess I'm not trying to sound like a meme at first, but it's like guys will literally sit down and trade like poo coins and Floki coins all day and then sit back and be like, this astrology stuff, I'm a little skeptical. Like that's stupid.
Literally.
It's like,
Yeah.
you see what you just did all day?
Once you see it as correlation and not causation, like I get a lot of, I wouldn't say even a lot, because at this point, honestly, most people either leave me alone or they're like respecting the rock with me. Like I feel like I've kind of burst through a lot of the, oh my God, who is this fucking idiot type of thing. But like occasionally I will still get people who are seeing me for the first time and they're like, oh my God, saying that Mars is shooting down like a bullet, like causing this, or like Jupiter's ray, like, and fucking like making no one is saying that literally any planet is doing anything. Like it's correlation, not causation. So shut up and stop strawmanning.
That's like some Ben
So once
Shapiro
you
stuff right
understand
there.
yeah, no, literally
actually,
like the
you
way
know,
that
They're
yeah,
suppressing
I feel
chain
much
link
like
using
My
planets.
calculations. Why
I've
is in
high-key
transit?
been accused of speaking with the cadence of Ben Shapiro. Like I've been compared to him on multiple occasions with the way that like
I can
nasality and
see
which I speak.
that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
and we're both Jewish.
I would have never
like,
guessed that.
Yeah.
There's something I wanted to bring up real quick before we move on to actually talking about Bitcoin. There was something, because you and about a few other people are the only people I follow on Twitter, crypto related. But there was one tweet you made a few months ago, and I don't know if you were quote tweeting or something like that, but the reaction, it had me dying. And correct me, I'm paraphrasing it heavily, and feel free to correct me, but you basically said something along the lines of, I don't know what's wrong with, it's something like, my ovaries dry up when I hear 30-year-old men calling each other friend.
Yes.
And I felt like you just
No.
exposed someone on like a global scale. Like I sense a disturbance in the force or something. Like it was like, and the responses were like unbelievable. Just like thousands of Pepes. Just like, what do you mean I can't call my friend? Like,
Yeah. No, I was saying it. You're gonna laugh because obviously I could have said this around basically anyone could have triggered. I've thought this for a while. Like literally. Like the tweet was something along the lines of, you're over 30, stop calling each other friend, you sound like a fucking infant. Like I was just like, it was so getting to me, like the amount of like unattractiveness and just like demasculization will call friend. But the person who did this is actually like, the individual who says friend, who does not even speak English and is the most emasculated 30-something I've ever seen. So when I saw him, who I thought I'd blocked, somehow were in my own replies calling me friend, I literally was just like, so you sound like a fucking infant. And then, that was that.
All right, so now that half
Okay,
of CT
we're
is on suicide watch.
Getting into the fucking the juicy name dropping tier time. Okay,
I
let's
know,
go.
I just
I was
couldn't
gonna say
resist
like
the-
me,
Yeah.
Ari, and Adam have like a couple years left to say friend, right? So
Yeah,
it's
we've still got time. We've still got time.
The clock is ticking, bro.
I'm 30. My friend
And then-
card is long gone.
People started being like, women over 21 shouldn't be into astrology, ha ha ha. And I was like, I'm barely over that. So like, you don't even like half the men in there were like 45 trying to salvage it somehow, and it was just bad. It was, like
Jesus.
people were. But then I also said in the same day, I said men over 6 feet in crypto are the real like reserve asset, and that pissed even like
no.
more people off. And so it was just bad overall. Like
I can
everyone
imagine
hates
the
me.
amount of seed. Holy shit.
Well, at least we're all
Yeah.
6 foot in here, so you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I love how this has been discussed and it's been said on that I am the tallest and I'm not even 6 foot. is
Maren's
what
like,
makes it-
wait, you're not. Wait,
what do you
you're
mean, bro?
not.
I'm 7'5".
She just
I'm a
disconnects
I'm
Palladian.
5'3" and a half. No,
That
it's
is
okay.
fine.
I mean, I'm
That's fine.
5'3" and a
Palladians.
All
half.
of us here are at least 5'11", so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'3" and a half, and if a guy's under 6 feet, they're the same height as me. So it's funny how that works.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like that kind of like
no, no.
stay
You're gonna make some
space
people
time
roll.
continuum warp.
What do you mean?
How Turbo Man, let's cope.
Well, it's like, yeah, there's just a large kind of gap between 5'11" and 6 foot, and it's like a bigger gap than
Incredible.
like any other gap I'll meet in my life.
All right, Maren, can you be honest? Right? Can you actually tell the difference between 5'10" and 6 foot?
If there's
Like,
no
can
hair
girls even tell the
involved, there is a feeling.
Because
There
I'm
is a
5'10", and I tell
feeling.
literally every girl that I met that I'm just 6 foot.
The
and they believe
pheromone
it.
difference is very clear.
Oh god.
Oh
Not
no,
the
no,
fucking
no.
pheromones. Not the heckin'
Oh,
pheromones.
they give off different pheromones. Checks notes.
Right.
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
a clear difference. And it's the difference between like friend and friend. That's how I would describe it.
Oh no! Yo,
Not-
the fucking the virgin, the 5'10" friend versus the Chad 6 foot.
Friend.
I say this is like openly femcel though, so maybe I wouldn't be if I didn't have this differentiation. So it's fine.
Well, not to turn the tables or be aggressive or anything, but I feel
No,
like
be it.
once a
Yeah.
girl, I feel like once a girl is like 5'4" and above, maybe that's maybe like 5'5" is like, wait, you're kind of tall for a girl. Like what's the cutoff for women where it's
Really?
like you're a tall girl, you know? Because
I'd
it's
say
not
5'8",
like
5'8".
yeah,
Really?
That's what you
5'8",
start to
yeah,
notice.
it's,
I don't know about you guys. I've actually always kind of wanted one like literally the same height as me. Like I don't care what height I was or would have been.
well, sometimes you don't have a
choice.
choice.
That's like
That's
ideal
just
for me.
literal cope, Ari.
No, it's not because no. From like
No,
a
I
eugenicist
know,
standpoint, that's
yeah.
ideal.
No, I know like both guys and women who prefer that. All my friends are taller than me, women and otherwise, and they get very mad that I have no interest in this. Now I prefer like I would, yeah. So like it's people. I think that it's not cope, like it is a preference, and also most of my friends get a little bit upset at me when like I turn down people or like that they're with shorter people, and it's it is what it is. But I think if you're very short like me, there's a kind of bit of like, okay, major height difference, please. But I'm not that short. I don't know. Depends.
Fair
I
enough.
wouldn't mind
All
dating
right.
like a 6'2" girl. You know,
Oh, bro, no,
Could
I
be
want a
fun.
7
All
foot.
right,
That
we're
was
not
my
gonna
friend.
go.
That was my
Amazon
friend
queen.
who was in part of this drama, which I thought she would not dare. Basically, just I saw that even if they're 6'2", they'll still engage in some drama. But that's another story. My vlogs, it's a fucking soap opera in my YouTube channel right now.
I mean, dude, like fucking tall women are the best because like you feel like you guys played Shadow of the Colossus or God of War.
Okay,
Like you feel like
Okay.
you've conquered. You feel like you conquered like a
a boss.
yeah, like a boss.
A boss.
boss
I
fight.
a
I've
mini
dated a
boss?
few girls taller than me, and I could recommend it for sure. For sure.
Hell
I feel
yeah.
like some people can
I
get
just
away
want to.
with
I just
it.
want to be loved. Is that really too much to ask?
All right. Well,
Yeah,
now we're.
no,
no,
I
no,
relate.
bro. Listen, we
6
host
feet and
a
above,
crypto
though.
podcast. It's over.
Now that we've slayed the height question, I guess we'll move on to what we are supposed to talk about. I guess, but I'm sure this
Cool.
isn't the end of it because it's gonna go on. It's going to go on until the end of time. But real
Yeah.
quick, Bitcoin, what are we doing here? I mean, I think it's languishing pretty pathetically right now, and I guess it had it's around like 48K or something like that. But I have the same emotions I had when we were like sitting around, what was that, 30K around May. Like I feel that same way for some reason. So maybe that means we'll
I think
go
you're
up
kind of
soon.
late, bro. It's kind of shut itself already.
It could
What
get
do
a
you
lot
mean?
worse, in my opinion.
Look at the chart, bro. It's
Yeah.
all red.
It doesn't
Like
look
worse
good.
than
I literally
42K?
don't. I think 40K is my next target. I have a hypothesis that we could.
Mm.
So either I got shit for this because I don't know what I'm saying, so I just make up inanimate objects to describe price action because I find that is better than like, I don't know, some weird like technical jargon. But I think we either could go into dinosaur back territory where we just do this equity style cruising up a fucking mountain. Or what I see honestly is more likely based on terrible end of year astrology is that we nuke down to about 40K. Then we have like a head and shoulders with a peak again up at like 53 and then nuke back again, max pain to 40K. And then maybe we reset like with a head and shoulders of like where we were earlier this like fall, August into October. And then we had like right now we're like completing the head side of it. And then we just have another like 40K to 53 to back to 40. But honestly, I think like I just don't understand why people think if you look at the chart right now, like it looks heavy as shit. Like this weird 3-month-old trend line that people are saying is holding right now. I'm like, dude, like I don't know. I just see 40K. I just try
The
to
trend
think of
line's
like
broken. It's already broken.
Right, exactly. Like it's broken. And I think that people instead of like as like a trader, I just think of it as asset pairs. Like I literally don't care if it's Bitcoin or US dollar. I'm just looking at the asset pair and the strength that demonstrated. We were in an uptrend until proven otherwise. We were proven otherwise around the beginning of December, in my opinion, because like we really did not regain that strength or late November, early December. And then right now we're in a downtrend until proven otherwise. Like the asset pair is showing weakness. So like I just see next bounce at 40K and then we'll see if that holds. If not, Goblin Town basically.
Damn.
Goblin
Tyson.
Town.
Jesus.
There actually is some
agree or
confidence with that.
disagree? Yeah. Go ahead, Tyson.
Because right
So you're
now
not keep it, Tyson.
from the pump from like the July low at like 29, we pumped all the way back up to like 67, and right now we're at 49, which is like the 0.5 support the entire rally.
Right.
But the fact is, if we break this support, the next target's probably like 39K, and then if that breaks, we'll probably see like 29K again. And like it is bullish that we closed just above support. But if you look at the weekly Stoke RSI,
Barely.
it looks so fucking shit, and there's like so much more room for it to fall down.
The weekly and I agree. Like if you look at this on even like, I don't know, just these dailies look like it's so heavy. I don't like, it's just annoying because on like Twitter, everyone is talking about a different time frame. So like influencers that only tweet Bitcoin Maxi Inspiration are like, hodl, like up only, like best, like look at zoom out. I'm like, yes. And also if you're a trader and you're actually looking at this, like I don't see it, this does not have the same V reversal pattern of July. It doesn't really have the same kind of it does not have the same thing as what people are saying. Like the amount of cope in the fractals that I'm seeing is like nauseating. I can't even look at it. I'm like,
the funniest thing is like when Bitcoin nukes like fucking 30%, right? And then it recovers like 5%, and then everyone on CT is just spamming like, "Oh, you bought the dip right, Anon.
We're back.
You did buy the dip right."
It is like, so fun to bear post because literally, like, I cannot describe like the reply guys and their mania, and then in my Telegram channel, I had to turn off discussion comments because people are killing themselves on leverage. They're literally longing like the local tops. And it's disgusting to see. I just had to stop because then they're like, Maren, please send me money. And it's just like 20 messages of like, we gotta start a DAO to refund ourselves. It's very strange.
What is that like? You must have had some funny messages.
I get a lot of weird shit. Like people think that my DMs are full of like, I don't know, Sims or guys in the space. No, it's literally full of people in like random parts of the world being like, please, like I can no longer pay for my university or my family. Like please send Tron to this address. I'm like,
need to not redeem.
I've seen a few screenshots of those like around CT from like different people. Some of the shit that people come up with, honestly, it's impressive. It's
Yeah.
really impressive. Like,
one time
my
I saw this
daughter
guy
has
from like
leukemia.
yeah. Dude, one time I saw this guy from like Pakistan just like beg Gainsey in his DMs saying, "Oh sir, I followed your call and now I can't feed my family. Can you please send me 2 Ethereum?"
The funny part is that people cannot understand like the execution side of things. So if I say something like, I don't know, like I
Yeah.
scalp a lot, and so people will be like, but we're in this kind of a market, and then people will lose a lot of money. And like in my discussion, I used to have I have a Telegram channel, and I used to have the discussion open so people could like reply, and I would take the trade. And I don't use crazy leverage. I also don't need to. Like I trade very intentionally, and you could say it's like risky, but I don't know. I'm not someone who's making 3,000% on a trade, and so I'll show like 20-30% made on a position. And people will be like, "Yo, I made 3,000%. Like, get with it, Maren." And then they're like wrecked the next day on like
Yeah,
more money
exactly.
than that.
That's the
So
other
I think
thing.
it's
There's a lot of coon brains in the market now who don't who just fundamentally don't understand the idea of compounding gains.
exactly
Like they had this mentality where and I think it starts with like, you know, Bitcoin and stuff like, oh, early Bitcoin holders made it by buying Bitcoin cheap and holding, and they made a bajillion %. I'll do the same with
Shitcoin number 7.
fucking know, like
Floki
fucking
bonk.
burrito.
I thought
cheese
I would do that
burrito,
with, like-
avocado finance.
I literally said I will do that on all this Sol DeFi, and I think I put 30K into Step Finance. The market cap somehow is sub 1 million last time I checked, and I'm down 90%. Like I'm like,
Nice.
which is
That's
fine. But
impressive.
like if you look at the chart, it's funny because it looks like the chart has been sideways since I entered. But if you zoom in, you can see it's gone from $2 to like 0.2. And it's so like you learn, but thankfully, I don't know, just seeing people in my Telegram chat and what they're saying, like there are some smart people, like you, if you're hearing this, like, you know, the smart people and you know who I'm talking about, where I was woken up to why people should not trade, and why, like, I reiterate, like, no, I will not tell you how to trade. Like, just don't. Like, if you're here watching me, don't.
It's so funny that you brought up bear posting, because when I first got into crypto a few years ago, I would get really upset about it. I'll be like, we're going down and these guys are posting bears. Like, you're laughing. You're going down and you're
How dare you?
You're
How
going
dare
down
you?
and you're laughing. And nowadays, my favorite thing to do is when things are crashing, just
Yes.
looking at all the bear posts. And I think you had like I saw one on your Twitter. You had like a custom like bear one with like, it looked like your
My
Twitter
tongue
avatar.
out. Yeah,
It was so
yeah.
funny.
No, someone made that, and I
Yeah.
feel so at peace, like being so sidelined and seeing these people flail because they don't know how to either sell or take a sunk cost, or they're convinced that they're going to like sell the bottom, and then it just keeps nuking. And there was
Shut up,
like
dude.
a tweet. There was a tweet that like really hit home with people, and I was like, I don't know. I literally was subtweeting Fu. He's like I like his tweets, and he's very like permeable, at least in the past few months. And he was saying something like, "I feel a nuke incoming," and I was like, "Oh, you feel a nuke incoming, do you, sir? I think we need buyers for that." And like
I saw that,
no
actually.
one was happy with that one. I was just like, "Come for me! I can't even care."
I will slurp up your Bitcoinies at 20K, no less. Sorry, no more.
Yeah.
There will be less.
It sounds like we're feeling relatively bearish short term. So is that the
Yeah.
common sentiment that's out right now, or are we kind of just in our own echo chamber? Because I know the classic sentiment is to try and track, and this is something I remember from when I was a finance major, is kind of just to be contrarian focused on what markets
Right.
are traditionally thinking. So it's like if everyone's bearish, obviously when the markets are red, that's when there's blood in the streets, etc., like the old adage. So do we think that that we're the enlightened ones, or we're just part of the overall bearish sentiment?
Dude, we are so far away from like the norm at this point. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen people on Twitter just like unironically say, "Oh yeah, because of the money flowing into crypto, there's never going to be another bear market."
My
Like, I've
institutions,
seen
bro.
that like at
I've
least
had that
20
stupid
times.
opinion myself a few times, so keep going.
Yeah, like I've also seen it. I've seen both, and I think that it's not as like I have the best gauge, but I see a lot on TikTok. So I just see a lot of different
Oh, true.
gauges. Like I see TikTok kids, I see who I'd consider like pretty OG whales around the world, and I've never seen an agreed upon sentiment at any time in the market from any of them. So I think that market sentiment is usually pretty divergent. Like the kids on TikTok are literally in their own world, obsessed with metaverse plays and making it in the metaverse real estate world. Like they don't even care what Bitcoin's doing, versus a lot of these like people who are like more accumulated. I mean, you can, the meme of like whales accumulating is true, but that doesn't mean that that's really going to change market sentiment, because they just kind of always dollar cost average in, or they're buying dips even if they know it's knives, because that is a good entry point. So I'd say that the sentiment's mixed, and we're nowhere near like max like denial of like we're like all bearish.
I mean, like, I guess this might be a bit of a hot take, or whatever, but there is a fairly like decent indicator of like, you know, when sentiment and interest is at like at lows, and that's when a certain image board's post cap like drops significantly.
It's not even a bad,
it's true.
It's not even a bad indicator. It's actually true.
And like when posting picks up, it means there is more, you know, more interest and eyes on crypto, and therefore we still have likely to have like upward moves, etc., except at the very start of the bear market. And when posting hits like, you know, lows and rock bottoms, that's when it's a good time to buy.
There is also Google Trends as well, which is actually like not that bad.
I'd say it's easier to tell when things are frothy than when they've bottomed out, because with filter bubbles, etc., like for like Google Trends is a good gauge, because like our timelines will never really go dark necessarily. But I've been told by people that when influencers start posting about things besides crypto, that can be a good signal. And like as someone who never really plans to do that, like obviously it was kind of different off the bat for me, with like me finding this and kind of automatically going into trading, not really like marketing or shilling, etc. I think that when I see some of the people that I already know are on shaky ground no longer posting crypto, it'll be a good signal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird that like crypto.com literally sponsors fucking everything. Like
they try to sponsor me.
Yeah, dude, like
FTX as well. FTX is sponsoring the UFC.
Feel free, crypto.com, if you're listening, feel free to sponsor us.
No, they don't pay well. Don't do it.
No, but like, didn't they just buy the naming rights for the Staples Center? It's now going to be the crypto.com center.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? What kind of like clown world do we live in, where literal meme tokens that literally don't do anything except make a credit card?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, you see like Floki like advertised in like train stations and airports.
Literally, the Dubai airport is filled with Floki. Like when I was like flying back to New York from Dubai, it was filled with Floki. And had I sold then, I would have had like a 3x. And I'm not mad about holding. Like I'll just hold it to the next euphoria. I knew I would do that, but like I remember seeing that and being like, you know, you could take some profit. Of course, you fucking don't. So.
Hey, I did. I'm really happy that I took profits on some fucking meme coins. And
well, I guess it's safe to say at this point that the narrative, which has, I think, maybe artificially propped up a bull market in our minds, at least real in our minds, is that a lot of people, and maybe some people in this very room with us right now, were convinced of 100K end of year, like for sure.
Conservative estimate. I mean, we had institutions and banks saying 500K, and that was like literally commonplace. Was like, oh yeah, 100K conservative, 500K if we really go for it. Like that was normal, and now we're fighting for half. We're not just like close to a third of that.
And I'm not trying to be an alt hipster or anything. I mean, obviously it's extremely mainstream, but I had more faith in ETH hitting 10K end of year than Bitcoin hitting 100K. But
I was in a bet with someone. I was in a bet with someone to literally like tattoo ourselves on one another if Bitcoin did not hit 100K by May and ETH did not hit 10K by May. Like the bullishness was just, the prices was ridiculous. Like the momentum.
You weren't going to tattoo each other. You weren't going to like hold it up.
No, we were going to each other's face, but neither won. So like neither really panned out. But I think that for what it's worth, like I do give even like good and like macro people were calling for 100K. I think because we had never had the equity style curve emerge like we do now. Like it matured enough to where we have the equity style curves, which lengthen cycles but also prolong like the return. So literally, had we kept going at a blow off top, had we not had capital distributed over like insane amount of projects, like I think on CoinMarketCap there's over 16,000 projects, and I know that my own little brother who's 16 has under $100 in Bitcoin but has one full ETH. Like, people entering the space know that Bitcoin's not going to provide the life-changing returns, and so the capital distribution brings blow off tops to like Mana and Phantom and Solana.
Are you trying to whisper that there will be a flippening? Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
no?
I don't know about a flippening necessarily, but I do fully corroborate that until there's some kind of major narrative shift and we all have to own Bitcoin or become like, I don't know, fucking slave, like there's not an incentive to buy Bitcoin versus anything else. So the blow off top FOMO is now going to the capital is distributed in other places.
Actually, that's interesting because if you take that theory, that would mean that the standard like liquidity rotation, where liquidity flows from Bitcoin to big caps to mid caps to low caps.
I did a full video on like why.
Yeah, that would finish, right?
Yeah.
Because
I did
equities
a full
like
video on that
differently.
exact thing. I did it like, I literally, I think it goes, instead of going Bitcoin, ETH, large caps, mid caps, small caps, it now goes narrative hype to narrative hype to narrative hype. It went from DeFi to meme coins to a metaverse plays. So it's no longer trackable through market cap or just like profits trickling like down the line. It's now based on literally what is the hype play and where can you like FOMO into the next thing that is like the thing that got hyped.
Yeah, you've got to get ahead of those.
Yeah, well, that's kind of supported by the fact that I guess I can't remember if that was like a month or two ago, but once those Dogecoins start going, that's I guess you could say a narrative play in itself, and then after that, it's a bunch of other narrative plays. And right now, I said it on another one before. I unprompted, my dad brought up the metaverse to me, and he'll send me emails about it and stuff like that. Like, that's if he knows about it, then people are obviously talking about it. But that doesn't mean it'll be around for a long time. But
and like,
you just reminded me something.
Yeah,
I had a lecture on the metaverse at uni.
Oh, really?
It was so fucking bearish. It was so bearish. They're talking about blockchain, NFTs, and everything.
You know the narrative hype thing. It could also be the reason why like DeFi didn't have like a DeFi Summer 2.0, and why like Link never like pumped again, really, because the narrative just like kept jumping on.
Wow, 31 minutes in, and we've only just mentioned Link.
But that's what
amazing.
I said one time, Tyson. Yeah, go ahead.
I think now, like, because normie sentiment is coming in and people in the world are looking for, like, you can see it, I think, culturally with the rise of memes. There's no longer like a sensible progression of things. This gets like really weird and philosophical and esoteric, but like, if you look at like the genealogy of interest, it's not like progress based. It kind of jumps around and then has tangents in it. And I think that with Bitcoin becoming a more mature asset class, it's no longer in the hands of people with finance backgrounds who can self-fulfill the prophecies of TA, and also like liquidity just going from like Bitcoin down to small caps eventually. Like, now it really is just normie, whatever the narrative is in the real world, and the access points. And that's why we have like Pancake Swap blowing up on TikTok. And now TikTok is obsessed with making it in the metaverse, because there's been this narrative now where it's like, oh, you're not rich in real life, well, be rich in the metaverse and buy land on Sandbox. So it's now more
but it's also
the
like the metaverse
narrative.
And I've never really understood this about NFTs either. Like, I understand the use case for NFTs fucking finally. And it, funnily enough, it was a fucking Gary V TikTok that did it for me. When he was like, NFTs will be used for like tickets in the future and things like that. Like that, I'm like, fuck, that's a good idea. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like transferring tickets, you can't duplicate them because on the blockchain, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, I totally get that. And I see that 100%. So finally I got my head around the NFT use case.
Maren just reminded me of like, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, with just this metaverse stuff, like, oh, I own pixels in a pixel game where there can be literally infinite amount of pixels. Like, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's a bit. I'm just a boomer, even though I'm not that fucking.
It worries me as well, because I see people saying, you could own $1 million house, or you could own $1 million property in Decentraland that pumps when Decentraland pumps, and like, people are really going to get burned. Like, it was the same thing now. I mean, I got burned thinking that we'd have the liquidity trickle down, so I put like 30 to 50K in all this Solana DeFi that's literally down 80%, and I know that was kind of like playing upon a past cycle instead of literally looking at what's in front of you. So I think similarly, people trying to play like the metaverse. I'm bullish on it, but I know that it's going to attract plebes like NFTs and then have the liquidity dry up.
Well, it's like the most recent example of that would be like with the recent Dogecoin mania. Like loads of people like FOMO'd into Doge, thinking Doge is going to go into
actually,
like $1 to $1.
Adam,
What's up?
I'm proud to say Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Enu is an all-time high right now.
Let's go.
I think that's thanks to us, actually. So I'll
Yeah.
No, I want to say, going back to the metaverse thing, can we just talk about this vision real quick about making it in the metaverse? Can you just picture like someone in 10 years time and like they wake up in like a pod and they're having bugs for breakfast and they're like, oh, my life is so miserable, but they put on their VR headset and like, oh, but I'm not a loser here. Hey, who's the loser now?
It's literally fucking Ready Player One.
That already exists.
I mean, it's literally like that one guy on RuneScape with decked out armor because he paid like the membership or something, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm fucking hard, mate. Yeah.
There was a pretty funny TikTok where there was some crypto TikToker that I follow and I like them, but he was very in this, like, it's like the thumbnail of like the mouth wide open. It was that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You
Bitcoin to 5 million? Click on this video to find out.
I remember the Bitcoin
price.
I love those.
The opening line was literally like, can't afford $1 million house in real life? Well, maybe you can pay just cents for something that'll end up being worth millions in the metaverse. And he shows the equivalent of what looks like Minecraft behind him. And then it was stitched by a guy that's literally a real estate mogul and owns properties around the world. Like this guy stitched him or essentially replied to it and is like him in his mansion in Malibu. And he's like, yeah, it does not compare. And it was just a funny moment of the reality of like, flip these things. But like an NFT, honestly, is not the same as like having like a literal awesome painting in your house. Like it's not the same. Exactly. It's different. So it's I don't know. Flip them. Don't get attached. I myself am not really into either, and I don't game or really like art. So it's no. I'm in it for the money.
I have a question. And Maren's about to go into it just before, but can you just explain to me the difference between like L1s and L2s? And like I've never like really like spent the time to actually understand the difference between those, and then like now I'm at a point where it's kind of embarrassing to admit that. But yeah, here I am. Like, can one of you or Maren like just give me a quick rundown?
The low IQ version of how I understand it is like L1 is its own street, it like is its own blockchain, it does its own street thing, and then like, L2 is like, oh, I'm a little tangent off the street, like a stream.
Oh, okay.
It's like the river.
Which one's Phantom? Is Phantom an L2?
It's an L1.
It's a layer 1, I think.
L1. Okay.
Yeah, because it has its own blockchain.
Yeah.
Apparently, apparently the transaction finality is incredible on that one.
Oh,
it is, dude. It settles transactions in like 1 second. It's so key now.
I love it.
Yeah. So on a maximalism.
I know. I feel as if there was like there was an extra little bit of fucking context to there that you guys just missed.
Yeah, well, I no, actually, there was a recorded conversation where no one but me, and then what was his username? I don't even remember what he used to controlled opposition. In person with this individual, I recorded it because controlled opposition was having an argument with this individual about Solana versus Phantom, and all the Phantom representative kept saying was transaction finality, and like literally this other individual controlled opposition was like, but Solana has like this in proof of history and level, and he's just like transaction finality, and that's all I know is that it has a good
based. Honestly, huge shout out to controlled opposition, by the way.
Yeah, without a doubt. King. I hope he's doing well and is in the right place. But just something I wanted to point out real quick, because you guys made me think about it when you're talking about NFTs, because I'm not into them because maybe I'm just too slow-witted or something like that. But I see the value in not only Decentraland and NFTs and the metaverse, because the normal person spends 8 hours a day looking at a screen, then they go home and look at another screen. And on top of that, they usually have a secondary screen. If you can find a way to, not even through advertising, but if you can find a way to monetize where people want to put their eyes and where they are at that moment and make them feel like they're special or have paid into looking or being at that certain thing virtually, that's worth that in a way. could be worth more than physical space, more than people think. Because I mean, commercial real estate itself is on its death knell and trying to reinvent itself because people don't want to go out and go shopping anymore. If you can monetize people's minds to make online shopping even more fun than it already is through some type of metaverse space, then you've already got it down. And I think and that's what bothers me so much, where it's just like, oh, right click, save as. Like I understand the joke behind that, but I can understand why. Why something is like worth an exact, like it's worth an exact amount, it's immutable, and it's its own item on the blockchain. So I get why it makes sense.
I understand NFTs. I just don't understand NFT art. Like that's the difference. Like,
well, yeah, why like a monkey smoking something is like super cool. I don't get that.
Or a penguin.
Like, it's fine. Let them do their thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. It's like the way I see it, it's like the equivalent of people that actually made money on BitConnect back in the day. I mean, it's quite clearly a bit of a meme, but I mean, if you can make money off of it, who really cares?
Oh,
right?
Me with sheep. I 8x'd a fuckload of money because of sheep, and like literally, like sheep's a joke.
Yeah,
like who cares? It's
the people that actually take it serious and they're like, oh, I'm in this for the tech.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we're at the bottom when people start unironically saying that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a really good segue, because what I wanted to talk about next is kind of like, now that things are kind of on the downturn and people are relaxing, and as you said, there's not as much being posted in a certain board, I think this is a good time to take a look at maybe new alts or getting out of stagnating alts. So before I let you guys talk about what you're trying to get into, I'm just going to say I am no longer going to shill RNDR because it will not stop fucking going down. So I'll let you guys take that bullet. So
I was gonna shill RNDR because it's one that I actually, when I think that we bottom out or get more of a nuke like end of year, that is on my list. And I like literally wrote that in my like channel today, was because the highest IQ people I know that reliably, like, they nail this shit, they're like RNDR, like Render has been on their list.
You just low key burned me as an idiot.
No, what do you mean? No, wait. We called RNDR at the bottom.
You're
so
like
we're
the
good.
smartest people I know, not you.
Like the people I know that like they like know things early. Like I also like the reliable things that I look at that are not Whisper related are, what is Andre Cronje involved in, and what are Binance and Coinbase Labs investing in? And that has been that, and RNDR, I don't think Andre is involved in it, but I know I've seen it on the Coinbase and or Binance Labs early on. That I saw that with that and Mover early on, and I didn't get into MOVR. I saw both of those, and ANKR. So those are the things that like I remember, that if you look at those, the risk is that you're going to catch something that they've invested in and it's going to be sideways for months before it does pump. So like that's the opportunity cost of it. But if you can find something that overlaps with all of those, like recently what I found, and he doesn't even like, actually he has subtweeted me, he knows who I am, but like it's not that I know him very well, but I know what he is involved in generally does well. So I know that Andre is connected to Fusion, which is FSN, and Keeper, which is KP3R. Those are two on my list that I'm extremely,
I've heard of that
like,
one.
I will be looking at those. And Kadena, because I think it easy top 10 next time we pump.
Oh, hell yeah, Kadena sisters.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I got in early on Kadena, and I was a big fan of it. So it's actually funny because I found out of it from a real life friend that has nothing to do with any of this. He was just like, he recommended me Kadena at like 50 cents. It was awesome. But real quick, I hate to get like kind of in the weeds, but you mentioned it. Have you talked to Andre before? Because I love Phantom and like random shit on Phantom. Like you've never spoken to him, or?
We've talked on Twitter like publicly when he's been like just made jokes about like me. It's always been like jokes, but I've never talked to him. Like, he said some weird shit, and I was like, "Yo, you know who I am?" And he was like, "Of course, like Liz, when Planet Moon," or like he said something like that. And I was like,
he is a goofball. He is a goofball on Twitter, so yeah, that's funny.
But
that's cool that you say that.
Side note is that Kadena did reach out for some collabs, which means that they have some stuff in the pipeline, let's just say. So I will be
Alpha, you heard it here
next
first.
year.
Heard it here
Yeah.
first.
I was briefly involved in something on Cadena. I think it's called UFO. They're on the
Oh my
Cadena
god!
team.
Wait,
and everything.
UFO.
Yeah.
No, I am kind of cursing myself because I know one of the UFO lead devs, and he told me about it very early. I got out at a 2x. I went from like 2K to 4K, and it was
Same.
meant to be a
Literally
meme coin.
same.
It was meant to be
Yeah.
a meme coin. Now suddenly it's a metaverse. I'm like, shut the fuck up! Like metaverse.
Wait, there
my
were
ass.
UFOs in the metaverse?
It looked like it was trying to be
They-
everything at once.
Like I remember them telling me, "Oh no, this is different." I was like, "Fuck you!" Like this is a meme coin, no use case. Now it's suddenly a metaverse. I'm like, what is that shit?
Yeah.
But it's fine. I mean,
I got in and out of there and like back into Cadena, but and you said Binance platforms. There's like a Phantom exchange coming out on Binance, supposedly Q4, but I'm kind of hoping that breathes some new life into
I don't
that
get even the big
ecosystem,
deal
too.
about that. Like, what does that even like? That announcement was literally the most hyped up thing and biggest letdown I've ever seen. Like the
So I
whales I
spazzed
follow,
Yeah,
the
I
whales I
spazzed
follow
out
were
about it on
posting
here.
Elon. They were posting that Elon was going to be involved,
Yes.
and Tesla. Like the amount,
Oh,
and
I
then
remember that.
they
Was that the thing about
Yeah.
Elon posting like a ghost emoji or something?
Yes.
Yes, from 2
Something
years
like
ago. And then Andre posting
Jesus.
something that alluded to Tesla, which it wasn't. It was unrelated to Phantom even. And like these guys were like, "Oh, you just don't get it." It's like, don't get it. Like
That
there was
was the
no allusion to
problem.
Tesla. Yeah, but that
Yeah.
conference was overall an embarrassment. Like hired all these hookers to make it seem like there were women there. It was very embarrassing to see. Like
The
I was
real
like an hour
pill
and a
was
half
that
away.
Elon was just shilling Snapchat stock.
I'm glad you yeah,
Literally.
right. I'm glad you could clarify that because I was really happy about Phantom's price action. It was going up to like $3.40 going into that literal speech by Harry A. Then he introduced the cloud thing and it was just like it just collapsed.
I sold it 3. It was so overextended on the fib.
God
Like
damn,
it was
I wish
so
I could-
overextended. And Harry
Yeah.
was literally telling, I don't know him personally, but I'm close friends with like some of his close friends. And I remember he was like, "You sell before $10, fucking idiot." And I was like, dude, like it's like the fib was literally beyond extended at like 350. So I got out at 3 and I was like, I'm fine. It looks like a Disney castle. That's the price action.
It does look like a bit of a textbook blow off as well.
Dude,
Yeah,
speaking
weekly
of
at least.
Phantom,
Yeah, it
dude,
looks so bad.
I'm so fucking tomb pilled right now. I
Yeah.
put in like 10
yeah.
grand in the tomb, and it just keeps like fucking printing $100 a day or some shit. It's so
Isn't that a
comfy.
good thing? Oh, so
Yeah.
you like it. So it's funny that Maren brought up Harry because I was about to say Harry Ye is a Christ figure in the Tomb Circle, which is basically something running on the Phantom ecosystem. And I'm a huge fan of it, but like people hang on his every single word. And it kind of makes me nervous sometimes. But apparently Tomb is supposed to be a huge part of the upcoming Binance, whatever, Phantom ecosystem. But I'm glad you like it, Tyson.
You all should look into Ether Print on AVAX. I was
Dude, I
given
was
this by
seething
one of the
so
people
much.
that created it. And Ether
Yeah.
Print, apparently my friend is literally making 4 ETH a day. I've never bridged actually.
What?
I've been watching it, but I've never bridged onto AVAX, and I might do it because this thing actually looks like
Dude,
a Ponzi,
people
but
are
it's like
making
use
so
it.
much money from that. One of my friends
Yeah.
that I talked to on
How?
Twitter.
I don't get it.
I think he's printing like at least 1.9 ETH a day as well.
Yes.
And I think his initial investment was like 20 grand or something. Like that's not
Are you
even that much.
serious?
I
Yeah.
don't get it
How
though.
the
What
fuck? Wait,
fuck?
enlighten
I don't
me.
get it
Enlighten
either.
me.
Can you fill me
He
on
tried to
this?
describe it to me with like 5% rewards. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like,
So
where are you getting this
apparently-
liquidity?
Apparently, if you take 20 grand and you just take X amount in Ethereum, and then you swap it for like the Ether Print token,
Right.
and then you just stake it, and it just prints you like free Ethereum from that.
Can you claim it at any time?
This
or is it
sounds
locked-
very
is it- is it
BitConnect
locked?
like.
That's just DeFi. I mean, that just sounds like typical DeFi, but I'll just say real quick, if you're thinking of using AVAX, I used it one time to get into this very scammy DeFi thing called Snowbank, which crashed shortly thereafter. But the actual like AVAX ecosystem is like super fast. You use this thing called Trader Joe. It's like a really, it's just like a, it's kind of like Phantom, except a little slower and a little more expensive, but it's awesome. So I might check out that Ether Print thing. That's pretty sick, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Mm.
I heard about Trader Joe very, very early, like so early to where I laughed and I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" Something called Trader Joe, and like those friends really laugh at me. Like, there's a text that's like pinned on a chart where I was like, Trader Joe, shut the fuck up, and then of course it's like.
Oh, that
actually a
reminds
thing.
me. Do you guys remember that? This is super fucking specific to Chainlink, guys. But do you guys remember that chart of like King of the Swing? He's like selling it all at 75 cents, And then like it went around on the unofficial for a little while, and it just showed like his like Discord messages over a couple of dates of like him fucking slowly like losing his mind, and like it got to a point where he just like, oh, maybe it was a couple of years ago now, but it was oh, it's good fun.
There were
was
a lot
one
of
guy-
people like that.
Yeah,
I
he
miss
got
those
really
times.
pissed off, and like Link was languishing like below $1, and he's just like, "Fuck this," and like sold everything. I will say though, he was one guy that when I was about to meet Sergey at like a random little presentation, he gave me a smart sounding question to ask. So I'll just shout out to that guy, Sugoi, if you're still alive. I
Oh,
appreciate
I
it.
remember that. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, was that in the event chat?
Probably it was something like that. It was like me and
Were
that.
you the one? Wait, were you the one that like I remember there was this one. Someone was at some Link conference or something, and there was some like cute like EU representative or something, and like one of the guys like took her out for pizza or something.
No, that wasn't me, unfortunately. But
Because like someone on Discord told him to.
I do only eat pizza socially, so that could have been me. I never eat it on my free time. I'm not a huge fan of pizza, so.
Dude,
You're Italian. What the
speaking
fuck?
Speaking of Chainlink, Maren, like a couple months ago, do you remember like in May after the nuke, you went to like Bitcoin Miami or something?
Yeah.
And like after the conference, you hopped in like our VC, and then we asked you like, oh yo, were any of the whales like talking about Chainlink? And you said like literally 0 of them ever mentioned Link at all. That was such a fucking sell signal, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, like legitimately, I've never heard any of these people. Like, I mean, they talk about a lot of shit. Like, they'll mention like this. What is mentioned is comparing things to when people says a chart's bad. Sometimes it's said worse than the link next to the link ETH chart. Like, it'll be that kind of thing where it's like the chart bad. Sometimes I was on like a lot of my audience is either there's very little between absolute noob and like cypherpunk boomer laughing at me. Like there's because like traders themselves, they're not going to watch trading streams from me. So like I'm used to explaining things very simply, and I was showing like how you want to decide to get an alt. You want to look at the alt ETH chart, and I showed link ETH, and just the chat reaction of people who have never read charts who knew immediately. They were like, "Oh, make it stop! Like, please no!" And it was like it got the point across.
Yeah, it's that entire chart is just blood, nothing but blood.
My favorite thing, it's like when we talk about bear posting and stuff like that, my favorite pastime now is just when it's so funny because, you know, like Donald Trump's
I know what you're going to say. I know exactly what you're going to say.
I was just going to say during Donald Trump's entire presidency, you'd see a bunch of people responding to him as if they felt they were talking to him, but it was more like,
do you remember that Dr. Michael Ye or what the fuck his name was?
Oh, all those people and the brothers that changed their Justin Bieber fan account to like a Donald Trump reply guy account. But what I'm saying is for some reason they reach out to him like this, and it's some kind of like bizarre psycho thing that they do, and that's me with responding to Chainlink stuff because it's like a tick in my brain. Like when someone tweets something bullish about Chainlink, I have to respond because the people that respond to me, it just makes my day.
Oh my god.
I felt bad.
CT Linkies ruined everything.
Well, yeah, if you got into Link at like $10, how
was...
could you not feel bad? You know, like it's just we got in so early and then we got out. So yeah, what do you deal with those people a lot, Maren? Or?
Well, like what I tell people a lot is that an alt chart can look amazing, but if it is during a cycle when Bitcoin is about to correct, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
so don't blame the people. Yeah. Don't blame the people on Twitter who have really good TA and a setup and are telling you to keep an eye out. But when it nukes, it's not relative to the TA itself, it's relative to Bitcoin. And like that happened to when I was talking about how like Chainlink and XRP actually looked pretty decent in like September. Literally traders I know were openly saying, I'm not going to take a position yet, but like Chainlink looks like the best thing in the market right now. And then of course, like Bitcoin shits the bed and Chainlink becomes like just even fucking worse. So it's
I remember that.
I don't know how it happened, but like Link has evolved into this project where it's literally the last fucking thing to pump. And so like, I think like
it's
at 60K, Link was like at 50. And the chart looked so fucking good. It looked like it was going to pump to like 150 or something. And then Bitcoin just nukes. And even like a couple months ago, Bitcoin was like near all-time high again. Link was at 38. It kept printing like higher highs. It looks like it was going to fucking explode. Same story, just fucking dumps again.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Similar thing with Yeah, just like I honestly was really I was really bullish on Litecoin. Like I had some good trades. It looked really good. And Crypto Burb and I, who were like friends in person, we were both like really bullish on Litecoin. And then well, of course Litecoin's gonna fucking like half basically if Bitcoin does like a 25x drop. And so people were like
Wait,
really,
didn't
really
it? I
upset.
thought it got a Walmart partnership though.
Right. Totally.
Totally.
I don't even
Wait.
yeah.
That's so funny.
But Chainlink, I also said Chainlink is an exit signal if it does pump and people who don't get humor, like noobs, were openly like, wait, did
Link is
Chainlink
an
pump? Like, is that why
oscillator.
you de-risked? I was like, no, I de-risked because of the moon.
True.
It's so true.
It's not even like inaccurate though. Like Link actually is like an exit signal at this point. It's not even inaccurate.
If you could tie the moon signals and Link pumping together, it's like the ultimate sign. Like it's just in your face to exit. Yeah. And just real quick, because Ari and Adam didn't mention any, and I'll just show one real quick. I'm really into this one called Vader. I have no reasons of why I'm into it. I just like the logo and I like the name, and it's been doing well for me. So that's a classic one to look into. But Adam, are you looking into anything good lately or what?
Well, I don't know. Like, I dumped a shitload of money into Kilt, which was a mistake.
Not yet.
It's halved. Oh, it's like down 40% from when I bought it. But like, if I have no dry powder at the moment, and I don't want to realize any losses because that's kind of cringe. So
okay, whatever you say.
Yeah. Okay. I sold the literal local bottom.
No, shut up.
Wait, aren't you still hanging on to some RNDR or what?
Oh yeah, I sold like half my RNDR at $8.45. So I'm literally chilling.
Dude,
I don't
you just sold at the top with me, man. I sold at $8.50 entirely.
I sold
Anyone
all my
else
PYR.
in PYR? Oh my god.
Me and Adam, we dumped it at 44.
I dumped it at 46.
I was about to say I just re-entered PYR.
Yeah. Where'd you get in initially, Maren?
I don't remember because it was a while ago. Honestly, I just follow Trader SZ's calls on that. He's someone that like, I don't know, trades similarly. So I follow a lot of his calls on shit, and he talked about PYR entries and exits. So I was just following that with like a really small position. And then recently I've just been sitting in spot. I got in at 23 when it dipped down recently. And so now I'm just like kind of sitting it out. That and KDA, I entered. I think I got into Cadena. I want to say, didn't it dip down to like $6 or something? Maybe not. I think it had a wick to like, no, I think it got down to like eight something. Because on KuCoin, I've been trading on KuCoin, and the wicks are kind of bad on there. And so I randomly had a buy order at
no kidding.
The local top at like 8.5, and I think it got hit or something. Because, but a very small positions. I want to accumulate more when it gets worse. But KDA and PY are like my KuCoin actually positions.
I mean, I guess me and Tyson managed to get into PYR at $5, and we literally shilled it to like fucking everyone.
Yeah.
We're like easy 10x, easy 10x.
That was the first and only NFT play that I've done, and a 10x.
Yeah,
so I'm not gonna touch NFTs again.
And then when we got to like $46, $47, I was talking to Tyson. I was like, dude, like the market's looking dumpy as fuck. Like it's way too greedy to wait for the 10x. Just take the 9x. And he's like, no, Adam, like don't be a pussy. We're going to $60.
You're doing that classic thing. You're doing that thing where, like, when you tell a story, you make the other person sound really dumb. Like...
No, okay, but to be fair, Adam, you realize like if Bitcoin didn't dump, it would have went to 60, right?
Yeah, but it did dump.
It did dump, you fucking idiot.
If it didn't, though.
I'm glad Maren reminded me of Cadena, because that was literally like I was in it around like $3 or $4, and then it was literally trying to go to like mid-20s, and I'm like, this is going to 30 for sure. And the fact it actually got clobbered more than I thought it would after the last dump. It's because I think it's still hanging out around like $11 or $12. So I think that means there's so much upside for it. Like you're going to see $30 really easily. Like that, I think so still, at least.
I looked at that project and it was like, I literally think top 10 like next year. Like I'm going to do a video of, I think I'm going to take like 100K stables and do like, this is a portfolio setup that I would do, and you can scale it down. And like Cadena was the first all I thought of what I want to include in there. Yeah. Like,
well, it's the next BNB, right?
Yeah. I think it's more serious. I think the gasless aspect of it is like that's just a really big hype play, and it could be unsustainable. Like I'm not a tech person. I don't know if that'll be reasonable, but I do know like KDA and then IOTX are two things that seem really promising for next. Like they're big in what I'm going to be trying to accumulate.
Don't forget Chainlink as well.
Okay, yeah, now on the topic of Chainlink though, I really need to bring this up. Is Chainlink a bear market coin?
We'll have to see, because I did a poll on Twitter and I asked, which is more brutal to hold in a bear market, Chainlink or NFTs? And I knew that people did consider Chainlink a bear market coin, but it's performed so badly recently to where I feel like it might not have been a bear market coin. It might have just been a 2018, 2019 coin. So like I asked that and it was literally split down the middle of like 10,000 people. Half thought Chainlink was a worse hold than NFTs in a bear market.
I don't know.
So black thing.
It only pumped during a bear market once. Just give it up.
If you look at
it's the only
Link's
thing I've been
previous bear
liquidated
market,
on. So.
If you look at Link's like previous bear market trajectory, it could be explained by the fact that it was just fucking like really undervalued at the time. Like it was
Really
it was
undervalued.
like 100 million market cap, but it deserved to be like at least a couple billion. And now it's like 12 billion. I don't think it's worth 12 billion now. So there's no reason that
It's not worth anything, frankly, because Sergey spends all the money on Big Macs and prostitutes. So,
Probably. Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I don't know about that, but I don't know. Sergey's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. And
stop. You say this every week.
No. I'm going to back him here. I honestly think they just don't care about price. They're just in it for the tech. They're on their grind set.
Yeah, they don't care about price, but they're literally using it to supplement their entire operation. So that's cool. Yeah. So I guess it wouldn't matter
be a
to them.
Link maxi for life.
I was just gonna say another play I'm really still banking on is Rose.
Yes.
Like I've dumped a shitload of money into Rose over the last year, and RSR to a lesser degree. But like, what?
Of course. So
It's just funny.
you're talking shit on Link, and now you're shilling RSR. What the fuck is that done?
RSR. Wait, so Maren, do you like Rose or no? We talk about Rose a lot. What do you think?
I do like Rose, actually. I think that the Facebook partnership solidified it for me. I remember someone, I think it was Pads, like literally almost a year ago now, was like talking about Rose, and like I followed it. I remember
he still talks about it.
Some OG guys, some OG crypto Link guys were like gone to Rose really early and would not shut the fuck up about it.
Too early, some would say.
Yeah.
I got showed it in December 2020, and I didn't buy. Of course I didn't.
Yeah, like when he brought it up, I remember being turned off to it at first because his introduction to me, I don't think he meant it like this, but his introduction was like, look at this woman-owned project, and immediately I'm just like, stop. Like I don't really care.
Dawn is literally their savior.
But then I looked into it and I was like, okay, she's awesome. Like cool. So yeah.
Damn. So I'm glad there's a fellow Cadena sister that can finally join me on the Cadena journey. So I'm looking forward to that video. Did you have anything real quick, altcoin wise, or you're just gonna? I don't know how much to say. I feel like you guys have said most of it, but I will say that long-term bullish on XHV. Oh,
Haven
true.
Protocol.
That is your
and
UNN, right?
Not UNN. No, I'm sorry, UNN bros. It's over for you.
Oh my gosh.
But Haven Protocol, long-term bullish on that. I just love Monero stuff, and this is a Monero project. One of the
what does it do?
It's like it's Monero but smarter. Well,
okay,
it's on Monero, but it's
I'm convinced.
I think it's a layer 2 for Monero or something. I don't know. It's cool, and it's got a cool logo. That's all that really matters.
It's the next Chainlink of Monero.
I've mentioned this before, but like my favorite thing about crypto is that when you ask someone about something, you can just do like a number generator for sentences and just be like, it's an L2 ohm fork DAO blah blah blah.
It's a 1996 1.4 liter Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Well, these are some pretty good recommendations. I think I'm gonna look into that.
I actually think IOTA, like maybe I'm just being IOTA pilled because I'm really good friends with one of the founders and like he's very bullish on it, obviously, but like they're partnering with EU blockchain and like they're coming out with a lot of stuff next year, and they've been silent because like literally they were working with the EU, so like they literally couldn't. So I don't hold a position in it, but
is that privileged information, Maren?
No, it's open, but they don't market it. Like they haven't
Okay.
been marketing it because they're waiting. Like I don't care. Like I'm fine to talk about it because they delayed me working with them because they're delayed. They've been delayed for like 3 years. But they've been honestly working with the EU. So there's something in the back of my mind where I'm like, IOTA could be a good play.
IOTA hasn't really popped off in this market cycle, has it? I don't think it has.
I don't think
No,
so.
It never
I think
did. It
No, it didn't.
it didn't have an all-time high because its all-time high was literally right after launch. It was like part of,
Right.
unfortunately, a large amount of whales like did a pump and dump with it, and that fucked with its like reputation from what I hear, because like it didn't intend to be like that, but I know people that were involved in the manipulation, and they were like, yeah, that's sad, we kind of fucked it over. And so it never regained its literal all-time high from immediate launch, but it did reach like a
Damn.
good, it was good. I mean, it looks like XRP, or it looks like, I was going to say, like, it does not look as bad as, like, it looks like DOT maybe, where it did have a bit of a run up, but, like, no, DOT was better. But DOT, literally because of
DOT
Trust
killed it.
Wallet, I couldn't solve the top. Well, yeah, I mean, I got in at 23, and I wanted to de-risk around 50 when I got a 2x, but it was on Trust Wallet, and you can't sell directly on Trust Wallet, so I just was like, fuck it, I'll wait. And then, of course, it goes literally back to, like, 26, and so I made measly profit, but it's okay.
I'm
She
so
fell for
glad
the
I managed to.
fucking not selling right now meme, and honestly,
I managed
like,
to dump all of my
Yeah.
$1.47.
nice,
I'm
dude.
That was
so
a great
happy about
move.
that.
I love when people say good, like me and my friend always joke about it because it's just a term that's thrown around so much in crypto, like good team. Like it's a good team, good group of guys, good team.
Yeah,
I
strong
always
developers,
laugh when I
strong
hear that.
developers.
Hey, he's a good kid. These are good kids right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking about not a good team, have any of you guys been keeping up with the Ghislaine Maxwell trial or no?
Somewhat, a
Yes.
little bit.
Not super closely, but like I've been noticing it, and then the Twitter account got deleted and shit.
Yes. Oh,
God,
my
did the
god,
Twitter-
what
did
was
the Twitter
that
account
about?
Get deleted? What the fuck?
The account got
What
nuked, and that was
the
so
fucking reasoning
suspicious.
for like nuking the account?
There's no reason. It's just the Ghislaine Maxwell trial tracker and the Nancy Pelosi portfolio tracker were both deleted as soon as Jack
That
was
was
out.
fucking
Nothing
funny.
suspicious about that.
That feel when Nancy Pelosi outtrades all of CT.
Yeah.
No, bros,
Literally.
social media companies, they're private. They can do what they want. Stop. No, you gotta tell them to be quiet. Stop.
I hate to. I'm really not trying to sound like an edgelord, but I don't think she's going to get a harsh sentence at all. I feel like
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
She's gonna get away scot free. She's not gonna do anything.
the degrees of separation and like the like how indirect it is of her involvement and circumstantial the situations were, mostly based off of word of mouth
Well,
testimony.
didn't she like just groom a bunch of kids and then bring them to jail?
See, that's I don't know. It's given the verisimilitude of that, but I don't think that's really like that's probably what she did, of course, but
The evidence doesn't show
obviously
that.
we've all seen a Netflix documentary and stuff like that, and I'm sure they
Yeah.
most likely did it. But to be there's a difference between what we think in our minds and what is obvious in front of us and what has to be definitively proven beyond a reasonable doubt in court, even though that's sometimes up for question these days. But like her involvement is just so indirect compared to what Jeffrey Epstein's was. It just I don't know. I don't see anything, and it's not publicly
Oh,
televised.
didn't she fuck the kids too, though?
She was right on there on the Lolita
Yeah.
Express.
Lolita Express.
There's a picture of her rubbing Epstein's feet.
Yeah, is that illegal though to rub feet?
No, that's not
WikiLeaks
illegal.
like
The
expose
picture
was
is
not
on
evidence.
the plane, and that's
no, but
that's
didn't
nothing.
WikiLeaks like expose Ghislaine Maxwell as like the fucking organizer for like
Yeah,
all the,
and
the
she
logistics
fucked the
and
kids
shit?
as well and
yeah.
stuff, didn't she?
Yeah.
She could just say she was
I just
organizing
know that
flights.
she was like the wing woman. Like she was
Yeah,
the one
she
who
was a
convinced these
right-hand woman.
girls. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like now that Epstein's dead, she can just pin literally every single thing on him,
Probably.
and then that kind of offloads what she could possibly be guilty of.
I'm
So,
waiting for her to undergo. They won't copy the exact same thing, but a tragedy, let's say, falling upon her seems very
Oh
likely.
wow! The cameras are not working, and what?
We should
She
have
fell
like
off a
smart contract
building?
bets on this kind of thing, like which celebrity is going to
Bro.
commit suicide next.
that's a
Literally.
pretty good one, actually.
How fucking sick is a society where like Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell and all this shit, they're not just like immediately executed on the spot. Like a righteous society would just kill them straight away.
Oh my god.
Okay,
God.
then. Okay.
Okay,
I
Tyson.
feel like, you know how like vampires obviously, or no, it's werewolves come out at night. So after an hour, Trad Tyson comes out at night like a werewolf.
Oh, the
He's
fucking
saying
LARP.
things like that.
No, but you telling me they don't deserve death? Like, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
but
not going
then
to debate about the morality of fucking murdering people.
Should we send Alec Baldwin to do the job?
Oh, God.
Like, did you guys see that interview? That was such a train wreck. Like, holy shit.
no, what happened?
Well, no, it's like he's like, I'm not responsible. I'm not responsible. It's the armorer's problem. It's the armorer's fault. Like,
It
they
was the
literally told me
weirdest
to
thing
point
I've
it
ever
at her.
seen.
Dude, it's nuts.
It
Like
was weird.
my mum back in the day used to be a publicist for like actors and stuff, and she's like, what the fuck? Like who okayed that? Like who greenlit? It's like Prince Andrew's Jeffrey Epstein, not to go back there, but his interview. It's like, what the fuck? Like anyone could see from a mile away that was a really bad idea, and your line of like responses was like
Or the
beyond
Jussie
stupid.
Smollett, like that was
Dude,
a
yeah, he got
traitor.
done, right?
Like, oh
Yes.
my god.
Oh my god! Wait, did you see
Oh
that
my
recent news
God.
about like?
Yes.
What was it?
Where,
He was
like-
He found guilty.
no, he was
Well,
like
what
jerking off
happened
one of the guys or something.
What?
Really?
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah,
this.
he was. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
That was one of the most insane things I've ever seen, though. Like, I remember like hearing about that 2 years ago. I wasn't really involved in like either way, really thinking about it. Like, I don't know, I heard about it, and then you go back and you look at like the interviews, and he's like, it was just so like it
Yeah,
was
it's
like, oh yeah, I
fucking
can only see
crazy.
their eyes, and then like 2 seconds later, he's like, oh, I didn't know their eye color. I don't know what race they were. Like, it was very. It was just. It was.
It
Yeah.
was really inconsistent.
It's just fucking
Yeah.
crazy how like someone can fucking incite a literal race war and have a country like border on like a fucking anarchist uprising, and then for him to just like for it to all just be memory hold like that.
The most infuriating thing was like fucking Hillary Clinton and like all these fucking media talking heads. Just like the day it happened, they like took to Twitter and said, "Oh, this is just such an injustice. Anyone who doesn't believe him is like a fascist or some shit."
Well,
Same
have-
rhetoric, like same exact.
well, I have two things to say about the Jussie Smollett thing in general. The first thing is kind of funny is that I read something online. Someone was joking about it. The reason why they knew it was fake right away is because Jussie said his attackers said like, "Hey, aren't you that guy from Empire?" And it's like said absolutely
Yeah.
no one like ever. And
No attacker ever confirms
Yeah.
the show that you're on. Like,
And apparently these guys were just walking around with a noose and just around the streets.
Plus, these are like
Yeah.
fucking MAGA people, like allegedly, right? And like, what
And
fucking MAGA person watches fucking Empire? Like,
that was
yeah.
yeah.
And it's in the south side of Chicago in minus 20-degree weather. But the other
Yeah,
thing,
it
Tyson, because you reminded me of it when you brought up the talking heads. There was an already I was going to say pre-prepared, but just a prepared bill by it was either Kamala Harris or Cory Booker. It was an anti-lynching bill that was ready to go out like the same day as Jussie's fake lynching. So it was almost like the whole thing was premeditated to put together this
Wow.
bill that would help
Damn.
out someone's
he took one
career.
for the team.
That's
That's
It's kind of
interesting.
like that
right?
thing about who was that
Yeah.
guy who shorted like aeroplane stocks or something before 9/11?
Yes,
something
the
like
politician. It was a politician, and the same guy also shorted travel stocks before. He was like indicted for it. So yeah, that was actually something that happened.
Wait, are you guys serious? Is that a real
That's
thing?
crazy.
that. That's a
Warren
real
Buffett.
thing.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett,
That's-
right?
Warren Buffett.
And their
No.
name was Nancy Pelosi.
No, it wasn't her. No, but that happened. That was a real thing, and
If you give me the
that's
name for that, send it over to me. I'd like to do further.
I mean,
homework on that.
I'll tell you
He was
now.
a
I don't think
Republican
Google's going to be
senator.
very helpful.
Really, that's interesting. Man, I have to look that up. That's
no,
crazy.
yeah, I remember hearing about it. It was a Republican senator, and he did the same thing. He shorted a bunch of travel stocks like Norwegian Cruise Line, and then he longed like 3M, and he was like immediately people were on him. But of course, no one talks about Nancy.
Peace.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, my favorite fucking like a financial Chad move was one of the executives in what was it? Fuck, what was that massive company that went bankrupt in early America? In
Enron.
Enron,
Freddie
yeah,
Mae.
Enron,
an executive of Enron who, coincidentally, like a couple of months before Enron fucking imploded, divorced his wife so he could liquidate his shares.
Nice.
And
Based.
married like a prostitute.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. Dude, his name is Lou Pai, isn't it? That guy's such a fucking Chad. He divorced his wife for a stripper. And but even before then, he would go to strip clubs like every single night. And he's such a fucking psychopath, right? That like to hide the smell of the strip club, he would like pour gasoline on himself before he went home from the strip club.
No, I was gonna say like, but like it's so obvious he did that because those kind of executives can't liquidate their stocks without causing the market to fucking shit itself. But if it's like, oh, I'm getting divorced, I have to liquidate my stocks.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Bezos or whatever. Then it's like the market doesn't shit itself because it's like, oh, it's a necessity and it's not an indication of what he thinks about the company. But obviously it was. And he got out with like, tens and tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And then
he got away with 250 million. He's actually the biggest landowner in Colorado at the moment, I think.
Oh, he's still doing it? He's still out there killing it?
Damn. Still doing.
I guess
still just nailing it.
I guess kind of like to wrap things back around to what we were talking about at the beginning of this. I didn't get to bring it up then, but now since we're a little off topic, I guess I'll say it now and see if you guys have any opinions on it. But it seems like there's a few things in the market these days, not only in trad and crypto, that are designed by either media personnel or bureaucrats to keep us on our toes consistently. And the first thing is obviously Omicron. And the other thing is this Evergrande stuff. It seems like they poke and prod with these issues over and over. And now people just say like, oh, it's Evergrande. Oh, it's Omicron, without like giving much more thought to it. So I'm talking to a lot of people that are into like TA right now. So do you guys think that stuff has anything to do with it at all, or some kind of, it feels like some kind of bizarre like market social conditioning, or just social conditioning in general from somewhere, I guess.
Well, they just want you to be more scared and more fearful, so you're more likely to welcome in the changes that give them more control. That's literally the reason why.
Yeah.
I think it has like literally zero effect on the market. Like I think last year I saw this investigation by some account on Twitter. And he was investigating like the China Bitcoin bans, right? Like the 20 bans of Bitcoin they've had so far. Yeah. And apparently, if you look at like the source articles for like the Chinese Bitcoin bans, the Chinese would ban Bitcoin like fucking 3 months before. But then once a specific article comes out on like a different outlet, like the Washington Post or something, then the market would dump like 3 months after the fact that the Chinese have announced it. So I think it's just being used as like a whale catalyst for marketing.
Yeah, I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of a few. I mean, if I'm honest, I don't think I fully understand it, and I've been kind of curious about it as well. But I think that people anticipate it because it happens, and so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of everyone agreeing that it's a moronic, terrible like move. It doesn't make any sense, but then it happens, and then we're all like, "Oh yeah, it happens because of this." So it seems, like a whale catalyst, or just they know that people will all respond, and so they get to buy back at lower. But it's all like it's just idiotic. Like it's just very weird. It seems manipulation, whales accumulating.
Yeah, there was one guy I was watching on YouTube. This guy I jokingly reference but watch seriously sometimes. This guy Alessio Rastani, and he was trying to make the argument that the giant dump that happened last year because of COVID, or maybe not, had nothing to do with COVID. Like that dump that happened in like March 2020. He said the market was like too overbought, et cetera, and we were due for a dump like that anyways. And I was like, to be able to sit on that type of opinion and go all in with it, I certainly respect that. But it's really hard to look away when the entire world is shut down and the market is tanking. It's like, how could it be anything other than
2
that?
+ 2 = 4, right?
I mean, it could be. I think it could be both. Like he what he said was, it's a good point, but you need a catalyst to cause these cascades. To cause this cascade? I think so.
What if COVID wasn't the catalyst? It was the solution. So what if people could see that this dump was going to happen, this massive nuke, and they needed like a reason for the Fed to print money and recover all the shit, so they invented COVID, right?
Ooh.
So that would,
okay, all right. So you almost had me there.
All right, relax. Don't go too far with that. We'll just remove him from the air. But I will say real quick,
censor him.
Yeah, there was something that Tyson brought that up. Well, not that specific thing, but before that, we were talking about people who short the market before something crazy happens that people had no idea. There was obviously discussion that certain vaccinations were already pre-planned and agreed upon monetarily before the first outbreaks in that area of China. So that's some more predestination stuff. But on a global scale, yeah. Go. It's all what?
It's just I'm very open to all of these connecting the dots. Like I just in the beginning I was never like that's untrue, but in the beginning I was like that's a reach, and now I'm like fuck it. Like the shoe fits, I'll fucking wear it. Like it's all
right?
it's
like,
all too synchronistic.
There's just too much weird shit for it to not for there to be some not crazy stuff going on. You know what I mean? Like some of it sure is just like okay, shit happens, but then the other half of it is like is fucking planned, and they're just trying to fuck with us and get control over us.
And people are largely incompetent, so they let things slip through, like the banning of Nancy Pelosi tracker and Ghislaine Maxwell tracker on the same day. As soon as
what's
Jack
the point
steps
of
down,
doing that?
Oh, and no,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, it was the same day that he stepped down?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All I can say is just to wrap it up, it feels like we're in the middle of a massive consolidation of power structures into a select oligarchy. And it's a bureaucratic
we're entering a new era.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of people who are appointed to be in power and aren't voted for, and that's kind of where everything's consolidating towards. Like there are people who are unelected and not media personnel who can control what markets do and what people can do with their
we
home.
don't live in a democracy. We live in a fucking extreme aristocracy.
No, democracy's overrated anyways, so.
Okay.
Maren's just like, I'm just not gonna say anything.
No, like definitely I agree largely with just like I just can't. I went into this so like naive, and then with my rise and being connected to people who are a lot wiser than me happening so quickly, and like literally everyone I know being on the same page of like how is anyone taking this shit seriously, like the escalation and the narratives, and like seeing when it like recently when I felt like we live in clown world was seeing a song created where it was like Ariana Grande, Megan Thee Stallion, I don't even know, other like very current big names, all doing a Christmas jingle, like, and the chorus was something like, I'm in line to get a booster. And it was like dystopian. It was the most dystopian thing I've ever seen, like a campaign that the government commissioned out of these pop stars. And it was literally I forget what it was, but I remember seeing it and being like, this is literally clown world. Like Ariana Grande being like, get up, like she's like trying to hit the high note on booster. And I was like, oh my God. You can look it up. It is bad. It's another level.
That is a good point though, because we could argue about as Adam said, like the efficacy of the various things surrounding the actual virus of that we've been discussing. I don't want to keep saying its name, but the reaction to it from media and the other people, that's a lot more telling, and that's something that's a lot more
literal clown world. Like it's like another, and I like the number one thing I've noticed is that, for example, like from what I understand, like, and this is, you can correct me, but the more that a virus is transmitted, the more it wants to survive, and therefore the more infectious but less deadly it gets. That keeps the virus alive. Like it's less deadly, but it's more transmissible. And I've been like yelled at here in New York if like, some places require masks, some don't. And so if I enter a space and I don't immediately have a mask on, I'm like putting it on, like, I've heard people be like, we got to stop this Omicron. Like, we can't take any chances. I'm like, any chances? Like, dude, it's literally becoming less. Yeah, it's the oh my God. It's the same thing as me being like, okay, I am vegan because it is easy and I am fine. But like, I don't care enough to be yelling at someone across from me for what they eat. I just literally can't pretend to care, even if like ethically for me it's uncomfortable. It feels like the same thing. Like I'm not gonna, that would be me getting on a moral high horse if I'm to yell at someone for doing that. Cause like, dude, I don't feel comfortable doing it, but like, do I look at you and care? No. And so it's a similar thing where I'm like,
exactly
shut the fuck up.
I mean, now most people are so narcissistic that they will just do that. They'll do everything just to have like a moral high ground. Like,
it's all
I'm the better person here.
Yeah, it's like look at me. Like it's always grandstanding. That's what it's called. It's called grandstanding.
I tweeted about how I'm on strike on Uber for 2 times now that apparently I haven't worn a mask, even though the person didn't ask me to. One more time, I'm banned. And I remember all the replies are literally
They're that serious
all
about
the
masks
replies
in
are
Uber? Jesus.
all the replies are literally people being like, the amount of like unhygienicness and the disrespect. I was like, dude, if they would have asked, it would have been so easy. But instead, they don't speak to me and they report me. Like, it's that kind of thing where it's like, it was like so many people in my replies being like the disrespect, like they're like, I was like it was just
they're essential workers, Maren. You gotta respect essential workers.
Even if COVID were more dangerous than the Black Plague itself, the propaganda machine, like you said, Ariana Grande, like singing songs about getting boosters, I don't care if it kills upon contact. It's creepy. Like, it is creepy regardless.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. It's just so weird. It just shows
and
how
that's
like
without. I mean, if we really want to dive into the deep end, we can talk about how like
hot Ariana Grande is.
Well, yeah, there's that. But I mean, I was gonna say something completely unrelated to that, and that's
a shame.
Fucking pedophilia being promoted in music.
But,
yes.
But no one's ready for that.
Yeah.
No, but I agree, and I'm someone who's been accused of doing this because I look young, and that's why this one is one where like I've really noticed it. And I'm also being accused right now. There's a psychotic person with schizophrenia online saying that I'm in a sex ring with these people. It seems like, yeah.
It seems like the people.
Did you guys see that fucking Sony executive get exposed for like being a fucking pedophile or some shit? Apparently, this base group of like pedo hunters like just caught him on like.
I saw the video of that. It's so fucking funny. They actually like he invites them out to his mansion and he fucking walks out with a PlayStation T-shirt. It's like, okay, so it's him
wearing
it's
just that.
I've played
no, not just that, but like we're like, oh, is this the fucking like PlayStation like CEO or something? I know he just walks out with a
PlayStation shirt. That's so funny.
He just confirms it.
He's like, what do kids like? Oh, they love PlayStation.
Wait, Maren. So wait, what's happening to you? Can you talk a bit more?
Oh
about
my
that?
god! Oh my god! This is literally so stupid. It's funny. So I noticed on TikTok, I was being tagged in all these videos from one person. Like, I have so many notifications that it takes a lot to, I guess, for me to notice. Like, you have to really, really, like, completely infiltrate my notifications. So this person was posting videos saying that myself, Cardi B, Lil Nas X, Kelly Clarkson, we are in a sex ring of harassing people, hacking into their phones, and literally raping them. And I'm being accused of this by like this one woman who's an OnlyFans model, and she's a fairly decent following of like a few like 35K I think on Twitter. And she's posting this, and she's all over my comments. And I had to tell my lawyers, I was like, guys, I don't know how to take this seriously. Like, she's literally claiming that it's like me, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Lil Nas X, Kelly Clarkson, and I'm the
such a random
name I haven't heard in a long ass time.
Why Kelly Clarkson?
When let me in the Discord, I'm gonna literally send the picture of like who this person is, because it's beyond strange. But I had to tell my lawyers, and they're very used to like very serious things, like people making up things to try to like literally kill me or take me down. And because of like this, they were just laughing so hard. And this person is an OnlyFans model, and so they took my dad out and were like, let's look at the suspect. It wouldn't even let me send in the group chat because it's deemed explicit, because this woman has like nipple covers on. It's not even like her nude. But
how does Discord know that? What the fuck?
Yeah, how does it know?
It says someone in the Pink Boys has requested that Discord block any mostly accurate robots deem explicit.
You guys need to change
but I'll send just the text. And it literally says like all these people are part of a group, and people believe this woman, and I don't even know where to begin. But the Twitter username.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
No, the Lizzo up there as well. It's hilarious.
Low-key though. It must be kind of cool to be like lumped with fucking Nicki Minaj. You can't even
it's like a sign that you've like made it into the elite.
Wow. But her Twitter is, so if you want to look up who this person is, it's, and they're going after like, obviously there's some extreme discrepancy with reality that is.
All right. So if you ever hear this, you're a fucking retard.
All right, relax. So it's funny though that the people that are the most, and this is like kind of the trend, the people that are the most voraciously anti what we're discussing are usually, to some degree, at least in their minds, guilty of it, and they're having issues coming to terms with it. So that's why they lash out at people. Like I noticed like a weird subsect of Twitter that like obsesses over this kind of stuff, and then they're at the same time transmitting it and involved with it themselves. And
Dude, it's just Twitter is just full of parasites. People do this to try and
I'm sure Maren has an unreasonably and maybe not much to her pleasure deep insight into people's brains with these parasocial relationships. You see someone's picture every day and they're talking, and you feel like they're talking to you, and you can talk back a lot of the time. So it's
and
like,
that's why this person's schizophrenia could be understandable to be directed at me if they watch like daily horoscopes or something. But to be compared to this group of people, it's like insane. And the funny, it was so funny because my lawyers are like, let's show this to your dad, because my dad gets really, really worried about just everything going on with me, and he likes to be in contact with them. So they take him out to lunch, and they pay for her OnlyFans and like open it in front of him and be like, this is the person. And my dad is very he's very innocent and had never heard of it, and he literally falls from the chair and is like, what type of, he's like, what is this? Like he like falls back in his chair like at this restaurant. So my lawyers are having like just fun with it, but it was definitely like, it was kind of, I mean, I woke up in the morning and see this and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like from every accusation possible to this, like this is next level.
There is an undiagnosed mental illness going on with young people on TikTok and Twitter, and we're not ready to talk about it yet. And we need to get on top of it because it is out of control, and it stems from these strange relationships with.
It's the result of social engineering, 100%.
Yeah.
These people are being molded into these little golems to
it's almost by design
to become
at this point.
slaves. We're gonna have a generation. I mean I thoroughly, but if you want to fucking make some easy cash, fucking short Zoomers in about 10 years time, because
I don't know,
those bags are gonna fall.
they have a lot of options.
I got an interesting question before we finish off. What do you guys see when you guys see Warren Buffett? Because every time I look at that guy, he gives me like a really fucking uneasy feeling. Like I feel like he's hiding something, you know.
Oh, he's hiding your gains from you, Tyson. Every time he makes a loss, he makes a gain.
Because he's got this whole facade of like, oh, I'm like a mega billionaire, but I still live in my 600K house and drive like a 20K car. Like, surely he's like not.
Yeah, and then yet again, he like rubs shoulders to make political platitudes and like, I'm not a billionaire, but I am, haha. And it's like, I hate him because I went to college a lot longer ago than you guys did, and people wouldn't shut the fuck up about Warren Buffett, and it was like the beginning days of Elon Musk, so I had to first start hearing about him too. And it's just like, Warren Buffett bought this thing, then waited 30 years and sold it. It's like, fucking cool. How does that help me? Is that what I'm about to do right now? Like, no, it's not.
Has Warren Buffett ever has he ever given out a trading call? Has he ever posted his trading view on Twitter? Has he ever showed us his horizontal levels, his trend lines? Does he use moon phases? No.
The dude accumulated like Johnson and Johnson over 70 years. Like literally, like it's like it doesn't apply to anyone nowadays.
Bro, just wait 50 years, bro. Just wait 50
years, bro. All right, before we wrap up, I'm not gonna go around the horn with these guys. I'll just let Maren cap out. Maren, what do you have coming up? And real quick, what do you want to talk about before we peace out?
I guess, respect the rock. I would say that moving forward, I hope to provide some things that will help people respect the rock very soon, much easier. But don't fade the moon. That's all I can say. And I agree. Short Zoomers. I cannot wait to thank God like SHIB was listed on leverage exchanges, because I cannot wait to short SHIB to the ground when the SHIB will be news end of year.
I love it. That's spicy.
Let's go.
Episode title: It's all cringe.
It's all cringe with Maren Altman.
All right, thanks for coming on, Maren.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Of course, friends. You two friends.
Yeah, have a good night, guys.